everybody. Welcome back to Hot and Holy, where we talk about the hottest and holiest of topics. Today, we're talking about being in a waiting season. So, have you ever been working so hard towards something, or you're so ready, you're so prepared, you feel like you've done all the inner work, you feel like you've done everything you can, and now it's all in God's hands. And do you just trust Him in that way? Where you're like, okay, I'm ready, and your hands are out, you're ready to receive it, and you just find yourself just sitting there for a hot minute. And so we're going to be talking about that today.
I'm excited.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. I feel like you're always kind of in a waiting season. Like no matter what, you're always kind of waiting for everything, whether that's a relationship, whether that's like going to school, a job. I feel like you're just always in that period of time, and it's just, you have to just learn to enjoy that time that you're in.
Yes, absolutely. So this is my dear friend, Vicky, our special guest.
Hi.
We met through church, and now we go to a different church. So, yeah.
Through a life group?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we hang out. We had her birthday last night.
It was so fun.
We got sushi.
Yeah.
What's your favorite type of sushi?
Honestly, like I said last night, I could probably eat everything. It's so good.
I love sushi. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm just
probably my
I can
favorite.
just eat it. And then that's the only food I could just eat and eat and eat. And someone has to stop me.
I never get full.
Yeah, someone has to stop me.
It's funny.
They're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's enough. But yeah, so we're going to talk about our waiting season. So what is something you're waiting on?
I feel like right now I'm at a point where I'm waiting on just my next step in my career. So you know that I've kind of been wanting to do a bookkeeping business. So I feel like I'm just trying to navigate if that's where I want to go right now. Just been praying to God. I'm like, is this the will that you have for me? Is this the path that you want to place me on? Because I feel like everything that I've done career-wise so far has kind of built me up to that. So I feel like maybe it is, maybe he's just preparing me for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it is definitely. It's in your heart, so.
Yeah, I think it is. I definitely, because I have dealt with bookkeeping and I've dealt with marketing, and so I've kind of gone back and forth between the two, and I'm like, I definitely prefer the bookkeeping side of it over the marketing side. So I'm like, I'm just learning what I want to do, and I think he's placing me where I need to be for it.
Yeah, and that's a skill a lot of people need.
Yeah.
Because I hate that stuff.
Yeah, it's you want to focus on your business. You don't have to want to worry about all the financial part of it.
Yeah, so. And tracking everything and making sure you're not missing anything. It's while still running your whole business.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's that's a lot.
And that's where I would come in.
Yeah. So, if you need bookkeeping, what's it called again?
Right now, I'm coming up with the name kind of, but I think I've decided on Prime Profits.
Yes, Prime Profits. Hit her up on Instagram, Prime Profits.
Yeah.
I follow her.
Yes. Still getting started, very new. But what about you? What do you think your waiting season is?
Jeez. I feel so much right now.
Yeah.
I feel I've been working and working and working, and I'm just okay, where's what I'm...
It's what's next?
Yeah. What can I get what I'm working for, please?
Yeah.
But, yeah, just, career, definitely. I feel I want to do design, interior design or, fashion design.
Good one. I think you'd be so good at that.
Yeah.
I can see you doing that.
But, what else am I waiting for? So much.
I know.
My husband.
I know. I'm I don't know if I'm there with you, though, because I'm just I'm really enjoying my time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just so hard. I'm just right now, I enjoy being single. I enjoy the time that I get to myself. And I feel maybe that's because I was in a relationship for so long that now I'm okay, I really want to focus on personal growth and where I want to be. And then I think I'll be ready for a relationship.
Yes. I feel the reason why I'm waiting is because I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Like, I always feel that way because 3 months ago when was summer?
I don't, like
How many months
like
ago
3 months, August, September. Yeah, like 3 months ago.
Okay, 3 months ago, I was like, I'm so ready for my husband. Like, where
Mm-hmm.
is he, God? I want him right now. And
Yeah.
then looking back 3 months ago, I like from me to then and now is like night and day. Like,
Yeah.
I was such a different person then, and I've learned so much and grown so much. I was like, I was not ready.
Yeah.
No matter how much I think I am, like, I am not all knowing like God.
I know.
And,
Yeah.
and there's so many things He's worked in me since then. And I was looking back at my prayer journal,
Mm-hmm.
and it said specifically, it was like, what kind of man I wanted.
Uh-huh.
What happened there? And then read back and I was like, uh-oh, you gotta be careful with your prayers, because I was like, but first make me into the woman who would deserve a man like this. And I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
did it to myself.
That's the thing. I think just the waiting season is just about growth. I feel like, in God preparing you for what's to come. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you just learn a lot like in this time. And like, that's why I think it's
Yeah.
just so important that you just, it's, I don't know, just fill yourself with joy in it. Because like, even if you get to where you want to be or where you think you want to be, like it might not be the outcome that you want. And so I don't know. Yeah, just like with relationships, I feel like I'm just learning a lot about myself to prepare me for, I guess, like who I want to be in the next relationship that I'm in. Because
Yeah.
I don't like who I used to be in previous relationships. So I feel like I have to work on myself.
Yeah,
Like
there's
until
so much healing.
yeah, there is. And then the same for like career. I feel like I need to do good at what I've already been given, so I can, just be ready for what he has to come.
What's hard right now in your waiting season? Like, what trials have you faced to prepare you think, for your career?
I mean, just really, I don't know, just like I said, what God has given me now, just preparing myself for what's to come. Like I feel like if I work hard at what I've already been given, then it's like he will give me more.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like, and kind of like relationships too, I feel like once I am able to work on myself and like figure out the type of person I am, then I'm going to know what type of person I want in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my waiting season, this is a scripture that really helps me. We're going to be in Luke 12:28. I read the King James Version because I'm obnoxious like that.
That one's so hard to understand.
But I love it because it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So Luke 12:28. If then God so clothe the grass, which is today in the field, and morrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek ye not that ye shall eat, and ye shall drink, neither ye be of doubtful mind. For these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And I feel like this scripture just gets me through the times of like, where I'm just like, I'm worn out, I'm like weary, and I'm tired of working towards things that like are not coming into fruition yet. Like, and I'm like losing my faith, and I'm like, okay, so what am I focusing? Am I focusing on God, or am I focusing on my worries?
Yeah.
Am I focusing on what I want rather than focusing on God and He providing that for me?
Yeah. It's just like, I know he always has a plan, and everything he does is for our good.
Yes.
And I know that looking back on my past, it's like, okay, I've prayed for so much, and then like now to see where I am, it's like I know he's always working. I know
Yeah.
he has a plan, and no matter what, I just have to remain faithful, and I just have to, yeah, just know that he is working at all times, and that even if I'm going through a difficult time, even if I am in this waiting season, I know it's for a reason.
Yes.
I like this.
What are you,
How do you say that? I can't ever pronounce it.
Ecclesiastes.
Yes. So you're going to have to say that one.
Okay, Ecclesiastes 3:1.
So it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And I don't know. I love that because I feel like there is just a season for everything.
Oh my goodness, that reminds me of this verse.
Which one?
It was Jeremiah.
Is it 29:11?
I think so.
Yeah, that's what I have. For I know the plans I have for you plan to give you hope and a future. And it's so true.
Yes.
It's like no matter what, I know it's going to be okay.
Yeah, if it's in God's hands, it will be okay.
Yeah.
It might not be always like in your time, in your way, but it's going to be so much better.
Mm-hmm. And it's not always going to be easy.
No.
But it's like that's what I feel like is going to make you stronger through it. Like,
yes.
just it's preparing you. And then I have this one. It's the Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths.
That one's so good.
It is so good.
I love that one because it's just like a good reminder. Like if you're going through a trial or a season of like you're working so hard towards something and you don't have it yet. And then you work so hard and you do it everything you thought you were supposed to and it fails and you're still like, well, do I keep working? Do I not? Do I? And it's just so important to like not lean on your own understanding those moments and just be like, okay, I know God has a plan and this happened for a reason.
Yeah, putting all your trust in him.
Yes. Yeah. So this is James 1:2. And it says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. I like that one because I love one that patience is a her. I don't know why. That's such a win for the feminists.
It is. I feel like it's a good one.
I like that one. And then just knowing like if you do fall and you do have that moment where you're like, oh my goodness, like what am I gonna do now? Then you can just like count it for joy because it's working in you. Like all these trials are working you to where you need to be to have that thing that you're asking for.
Yeah.
And you can count it as a joy instead of like being down about it. You can be like, I know this happened for a reason and I'm going to keep moving forward knowing that this is preparing me for everything God has for me.
I was listening to something on YouTube and it was talking about complaining, and that made me think of that because it's like no matter what, the situation's not going to change. Like he already has a plan for you. And there's no point in complaining about it. Like, I mean, yes, like people go through very hard times, but it's like you can't really change the outcome of it. And so it's like, it's how you handle that situation and what you're going to do with it. Do you feel like that you've had any trials in your life that you're currently facing or that you've faced within the last few months?
Honestly, there's been so many trials, you guys, and just like little tiny things where it's like today when we were setting up this podcast, I was like, is this gonna work? Like, why is it not working? And there's just little trials, and like my makeup wasn't okay today, and obviously they don't want this podcast to happen.
Yeah.
Not them. The devil.
Yeah. Yeah. Just where he tries to prevent things from happening in your life or like changing your mood for a certain situation.
Right. Like I'm so frustrated. My makeup was terrible. My hair was terrible. I couldn't find a good outfit. I was like, I have nothing to wear. It's just like one of the... I know every girl's been through this where it's like, if your makeup's bad, your hair's bad, you can't find it. You're just like, you know, like where it's like the Grinch and he's like, that's it, I'm not going.
Yes. Yep.
That's how I felt today. And I was just like, and then I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like, just go through with it. Just do it. You already made this commitment. And then the stuff wasn't working, and when I was sitting there trying to get it to work, I was like, had this moment where I was like, maybe it's good that it doesn't work, because I had like that doubtful moment where it's like, what is going on here? Like, I'm trying so hard to get this stuff to work, and if this is from God, like, wouldn't he make this like a smooth thing? And I have those doubtful moments, and then you just have to look to God in those moments and just be like, you know what, I know he's in control. Satan, get away from me. Just like focus on what God has given me, like, and be grateful that I'm even here with you, and we're doing the podcast, and I think this is such a blessing and such a good thing, and I almost like had a meltdown.
It's funny. The other day I was just thinking, based off of that video that I watched about complaining, and it's just like, it's not going to get you anywhere, and things are always going to test you. And I was just thinking, it's like, in my head I was like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that, and it's like, I'm like, why do I put it that way? I'm like, if I just change my mindset and I can be like, oh, I get to do this, like, I get to do that, and just change the way I'm thinking, like, it just rearranged my mood. Like, it just put me in a completely different mood, and just a different outlook on everything, and it like turned that into a positive situation, into positive thinking instead. And so I feel like the devil's always going to try and come in any way that he can, and like ruin just whatever he can. And it's just how you handle the situation. Obviously you want to turn towards God and talk to him, and it's just, it's just how you want to handle the situation and what you want to do about it.
Yeah. It's so important to like just turn to God and be like, God, this is yours.
Like, I give it all to you.
Yes. Because honestly, that's what he wants you to do. I know it sounds like super selfish and like, but he's God. He can handle it. Like, none of our problems, like me having this problem today, when I was like trying to get the microphones to work and they weren't working for whatever reason. I still don't know why they weren't working, but whatever.
Luckily we got it.
And then I just was sitting there and I was just like, God, make it work. I know you can do it. And then I just like closed it, turned it on, and then it worked. And I was like, okay, like, it's like a silly problem to him. And it was a big problem to me, but like him, he could do it like that. Like, it's nothing.
I agree. He can do everything, and that's why, I don't know, it's just crazy. Like, I think every day, like, I am just so grateful for where I'm at and that he's brought me back to him, because like, I was so far from him and I didn't even realize it, because I guess I never really like had that relationship with him growing up. And then I'm like looking back on it and I'm like, wow, like, I've missed all this time with him, and like now I feel like I just want to like do right by him in all ways, and I owe my life to him.
That's crazy. I love that fire. It's beautiful. I honestly don't know, even though I just recently came back to God, I'm like, what was I doing without him? And like, I could tell that I was so broken and so lost and so confused. And I'm just like, what did I do?
But I feel the same exact way. I'm like, it's like, like, once you have that relationship with him, it's like, what did I ever do without him?
Like, in that situation where he got my microphones to work, I'm like, what was I gonna do without him? Like,
I know.
Obviously that was Satan doing it, whatever. But it's like, if he wasn't like in control of everything, it's like, what would I do if I couldn't just like give something to him to make right? Or like, even it's crazy.
It's so crazy.
It'll like renew everything in your life to where like all your problems are nothing, and you have this like heart for like God and his kingdom, and just realize like what's actually important in life, versus like all the small little things you can worry about throughout the day, and all the trials you're facing like in your waiting season. You can just like give it all to him.
So I was thinking, it's just, I feel like when I first started, I feel like I was just like getting pulled back to him, like
Yeah.
at the beginning of summer. And there were some things in my life that I just wanted to stop. And it took like a little bit. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to be this type of person.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly, it's like I was starting to get there, but it took a little bit of time. And then just one
Yeah.
day, I was like, I just looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I was not happy with myself. I'm like, I do not want to be this person anymore. Like, I don't want to do these things anymore. And then it was just like a switch. Like, all of a sudden, I just like stopped and I was like, I just want to be this different person. And I'm like, that's God working. Like, I know that's God working and just making me realize, like, come back to me, because I didn't have a relationship with him for so long. And now I'm like, I don't even want to go back to that old life anymore.
No. It's crazy, right? I
Yeah.
look back at it, I'm like, you were so, this is me talking to me. Like, I was so gross in the way I handled things. Like,
Yeah.
it almost disgusts me looking back at it. I'm like, why did you react that way? Why did you do that? And just the way I handled things back then and now are just so different. Like,
Yeah.
any trials back then, I just was so immature. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I feel like I would get angry. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
I would just get angry so easily. And I'm like, who was that
Right.
person? Like, why would I get so upset, like, about this situation and not
Yeah.
handle it in a good way? And it's just like, I don't have, I mean, because like I have Sienna now, and
Right.
like, other than that, it's like, well, what's really changed in my life? Where it's like, oh, I had more blessings now than I had then. Like, no, like, I've always been blessed. God has always given me something. So it's like, no matter what, like, you should just remain like grateful for everything that you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's so crazy how he can do things like that. I feel like he kind of, once you give your heart to God, it's so crazy, you guys. Like, that's not the day, like, things don't, like, hurt you or you're never faced with trials or anything. Like, I promise you,
It gets harder
it's harder.
because it's like you're tempted by so much, and it's like, no, like, get
Yeah.
away. Like, I don't want this in my life.
Yeah, Satan
Yeah.
is after you. Give your heart to God,
Yeah.
and he will come after you. But, you know, it's fine. His day will come.
Yes.
And my day, our day will too. So
Yeah, just because you have a relationship with God, like, it doesn't make you perfect. Like, nobody is perfect, but it's like, now that I have a relationship with God, I'm like, I just want to be more like Jesus. Like, it's so
Yeah.
true. Like, and I've always felt that, and I just feel like I've always felt like I've always been a very kind person
Yeah.
and like just a caring person, but there's situations that made me just, like I said, so angry and just not, like, I couldn't even recognize myself.
Yeah.
And so just now, like, having a relationship with God, like, he's softened my heart, and like all of that, like, I mean, people still get angry, people still get upset and stuff, but it's like how you handle
Absolutely.
the situations, like, it's night and day now. And it just makes me want to be more like Jesus, like, realize that, like, I want to help people, I want to be a kind person. Like, it's not about me, it's like about helping others.
Yeah, like, when you give it to God, it doesn't have control over you anymore. Like, it still might hurt, it still might haunt you. It definitely will, because that's Satan's biggest thing, is he loves to remind you what you did.
Yes, yeah.
But
So true.
and who you were. He'll be like, this is who you were before, so like, who do you think you are right now?
Yeah.
And it's like, I am a child of God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That made me think of
For
a Bible
asking.
verse. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah.
So it says, it's First Peter 1:7. It says, these trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. That's just so good.
That is so good.
I
That is like the biggest thing. Like, during your trial season, you have to realize, like, everything you're worrying about is probably like an earthly desire or an earthly thing that you're striving after.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like what's so important is like one day you will be with your Father in heaven, and like you will answer to him.
Yeah.
And like how many people are you going to take with you there?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a heart for like God's kingdom and like bringing others to this like peace and joy that you found? Like how are you like sharing that with others? And it's so crazy just to think like we worry about all these things that are just like they're not, they don't matter.
Like, they don't matter at all. And it's, yeah, I completely agree. So I heard a sermon and he said, when we are in the kingdom of God, the disciples could come up to us and ask, what did you do? We thought that was our time. What did you do when it happened? And so it's like, don't get caught up in the less of your life, the little things. It's like, focus on the bigger picture and what's actually important in life. Because it's like, what are you doing with this life God has given you to do right by him?
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, we do honestly owe him our lives. Like, he died for us and he saved us. And yeah, we're made perfect through him. And there's no way that we can face these trials and stuff without him, and like get all these blessings without him, and without going through these trials and focusing on him and then him blessing us. And it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And all these blessings, like even though they're great and everything, like how are you like serving him back? Like everything he gives you, like what do you give him?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like we will serve him in heaven just forever.
It's like we're all just servants.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? Yeah, like I said, what are we doing with the life and the things that God has given us to pay back to him?
Yeah. So humbling, I feel like, because I feel like you can always be focused on worldly things and think, oh, I want more money, oh, I want more, who even knows?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want more money, or just comparing yourselves with other people, or just
saying like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, I need this, that, the other.
It's like, oh, this person has this, but like people always say, it's like you never know what their life is truly like, so it's like you don't need to go compare yourself to anybody else. Like the only person you should be comparing yourself to is Jesus, and it's like, how can I be more like him?
Right.
Yeah.
And that'll change your life. Like he was the best.
Yeah.
And I am nothing like him.
Oh my, yes, you are. You are such a nice person. I feel like you're so giving.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't say that.
But he was just so good. And just like his commandments he left us is just like so good. I read something the other day and it was like, if religion is a man-made, not religion, Christianity is like a man-made religion, then why does it go against everything that we are?
Yeah.
And it's so true, like just being with God and going against ourselves every single day and fighting the good fight and making sure that we come out in his arms at the end of the day, like go home in his arms, and making sure that our loved ones do, our family does, the family we raise, and like everyone you can, because God is so good that like even there's no one too broken for him on this earth. Like you might think like, oh, this person did this, they can, why bother with them? God is not willing that any should perish. Like Jesus says that, like he died for every single person, not like just one or or the
he
rich
died for our
ones
sins, no matter like how bad. Just like no sin, I think I've heard like no sin is greater than another. I don't know if you've heard that, but
that's in the Bible.
Yeah,
in the eyes of God, there's no sin that's greater than another. So if you lie to somebody, you might as well have killed somebody, like to God, because he doesn't like lies, and lies honestly do hurt other people. And like anything that hurts his children is like a sin. He doesn't like it.
So true. So good.
I thought of a verse while I was talking. I was like, yes. Oh yes, 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought a good fight, and I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. And that's such a good one.
It's so good.
Because it is a hard fight
Mm-hmm.
to like live every day, go against everything you desire
Yeah.
to do. Like when someone does something to you, like, and you get angry, like you have to keep that at bay because
Yeah, stay at peace with it. And
right.
yeah.
And like God commands us to be slow to anger
Mm-hmm.
and slow to speak and slow to speak like when we're angry.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of hold it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just go against everything that our flesh is like, no, I want to do this right now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you
I
have to
think
just
it's like
hold on to it.
Proverbs talks so much about like watching your tongue.
Yeah.
And it's
a
just
big one.
Yeah, it's so good.
I need help with there. To this, I feel like I'm just always going to need help with everything.
No.
How do you think you can make like every day count while you're in the waiting season?
Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like just remain like joyful because you never know when it's going to be your last day. So it's
Yeah.
like I could be waiting for something for so long and that might never come. So it's like I don't want to
Right.
be just like, okay, maybe it'll come tomorrow and stuff because I never know like when my last day will be.
Right.
So I think it's just learning to just have joy in every day, learning to just find something good in every day and just know like if that is supposed to come, it will. Like if not, like you don't
Yeah.
want to make your own plan. Like
Yes.
you can't make your own plan for your life. God has his plan for you. And
Right.
so it's like just like work towards something, but if it doesn't happen, then no, that's just not his plan for you.
Yeah, it'll be okay at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and focusing on things like eternal always
Mhm.
is such a good thing because, yeah, just like enjoy the life you have and all the blessings you do have and don't like focus on what you don't have. I know the story about when Daniel,
Mhm.
no, it wasn't Daniel.
Was it Job?
No, it was Moses.
Moses. That's
There's
funny.
so many people
I know.
to keep track of around here. But
That's so true.
I always wonder if we see them in heaven, if we'll know, like, oh, that's Moses. I wonder if
I
we'll
bet
just
we
know
will.
that.
I think we will.
That'd be
like,
cool because they're
yeah.
like celebrities. What if they're excited to see us? That'd be weird.
I would love that.
That'd be so-
I'd love that. Just
I'd be like
I don't know.
Moses. He'd be like Victoria.
Oh yes, I know that's gonna happen.
It's so weird. I'd be like, no, you. I'm like, I didn't part no C.
Oh my gosh.
Well, God did it,
That's so
but
funny.
He was the one
Mhm.
God used. That's
Yeah.
so blessed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, let me
Back
see
on
what another
topic.
one.
Oh yeah, I saw. I heard a story in the Bible. It reminds me of a story in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
where God is taking them out of Egypt, and it's taking a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and they're facing so many trials, and God is showing up for them every time during the trial, but they're getting like weary, they're getting worn out, they're
Mhm.
getting doubtful, they're losing like that hope and the faith. Even though God is there, he never ever left them, and he made it like so clear to them, like, you want water, here's water, you want
Yeah.
food, here's some manna.
Yeah.
And they were just getting so weary, so tired, and then they were forgetting like all the good that God has done. They were no longer in prison, they were no
Mhm.
longer captives, they were free, and they were going to the promised land,
Mm-hmm.
which is so like, it's a good reference to me because to me the promised land is like heaven.
Yeah.
So they're going to the promised land, they're going through all these trials, and God is showing up for them, and they're getting weary, they're getting worn down, but like God freed them. He's always there, he never left
Mhm.
them. And just being so grateful in that moment instead of being like, well, how long am I gonna go through this?
Yeah.
Because there's always gonna be trials, there's
There
always
will
gonna
be,
be hard things that like get you wearied and worn down, and you just
He
have
never
to.
said it's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, he promised, I think, that we would be persecuted like him
Yeah.
if we follow him.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. But yeah, Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." So even if you are like weary in following God, having your trials, yeah, just be happy, be grateful for all the things he's done. Like every time he shows up for you, like rejoice in that.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, like there's so many trials, so many people face that I don't face.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for that. And then I'm so grateful for every time I have a trial and he does show up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like even just like the little tiny things that he does for me.
Yeah.
Like when I call out to him, he's always there.
Yeah.
Just like they were for them. And yeah, just don't forget like how much like God has shown up for you in your life.
Yeah. I agree with that. And it's like you might be praying for something, but he might not answer that. And like that's something I've learned to be okay with, because like that's my will and that's not his will for my life. So it's like it's a blessing in disguise that, okay, like yes, maybe I want something very badly, but like that's not his plan for me, and I know he has a better outcome that I can't see.
Yes.
Yeah.
I try not to even make plans these days, guys, because
it's pointless.
I'm like, yeah, literally, his plan is the plan.
Yeah.
And it's the best plan. So I'm going to go with whatever he says.
Yeah.
And if I go through trials or whatever, like, that's perfectly fine, because I know he's going to be with me.
Yeah.
I actually want to find the verse where it says, like, we'll be persecuted. So here is John 15:17 through 19. These things I command you, that ye love one another. If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, because I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
I love that. I actually just read that one not too long ago, and it's so true. It's like there's just so many bad things in the world, and it's like it's so true. It's like if you follow God, the people are going to be so mad. Like the world is so mad at you for it, and I feel like there's just a lot of hate towards Christians, just because I just feel like there's a negative outlook, and truly I feel like you can't understand until you do have a relationship with him, like where like we're coming from.
Yeah,
if that makes
like
sense.
why we follow God so much, and so like they think we follow him blindly, but like I can tell you, like every sin I've given up has been such a freedom. Like sin is not like they think we're like trapped or like we live like a boring life, or we live like a very restricted life.
Yeah.
Like sin is so restricting, you guys. Like when I was in sin, and like every time I let that sin go, I feel so free. And I know like when God says something and he commands something of us, it's because it is good for us.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like you can try to fill yourself with sin, like whether that's sex and relationships before marriage, whether that's going out all the time, like you're looking for something to fulfill you. And I feel like for me, like I finally feel fulfilled now that I have a relationship with God, and I didn't feel that before. I feel like I'm just a completely different person, and that's because that's who I want to be now that I have a relationship with God.
Yeah, waiting season. It's great. And yeah, find the joy, be grateful for everything always. And yeah, focus on things eternal during your waiting season, because you never know, like you said earlier, like what you're waiting for might never come.
Yeah, what's supposed to happen will happen, and just enjoy the process until then.
Yeah. It's all his plan, his will, and it's a great life no matter what, because we're so blessed to be here.
We are very grateful.
Yeah. Well, I love you guys. Hope to see you back. And yeah, this is Vicky.
Thanks so much for having me.
We love her.
It's so fun.
Love you guys. Stay hot, stay holy. Have a good week.
I cannot. I love it. I don't know how you do this.